Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo, and you drew on my map.
he did draw on it and ruined it to him.
Yeah, he ruined that thing.
Yeah, man. How's it going, though, Mike?
I'm good. Things have been okay. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. It's starting to get really cold here.
Yeah.
But
we
got a.
New York really
Yeah, but I also saw on the news, New York's about to go on a lockdown, man.
Yeah, we're recording this. What's the date? November 19th, and at least the city is. I don't know everything that's going on right now, and it's kind of upsetting. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So what happened? The corona numbers spiked back up or something?
Yeah.
That's what's going on? Oh, okay.
Yeah, who knows what's going to be happening when this one drops, because this is going to drop sometime in December. But we'll see what happens. It's definitely going to affect Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. But definitely affecting that for most people I know.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we have two things we wanted to discuss before we got into this episode. First one, I'll make it really short.
Right.
I've been looking at our YouTube analytics, and our numbers have increased of as far as subscribers percentage that listen to the podcast, and compared to non-subscribers, but
yeah,
the non-subscriber percentage is still destroying the subscriber percentage. We're still at like a 63% of non-subscribers. Guys, if you can and you're listening to this, I hope by now we have earned your trust. We have earned your liking. Just click that subscribe button. It's free. Doesn't cost a thing, man.
Not hard.
Yeah, please, click that subscribe button. It helps us out. It helps us reach to more people who are interested in Darkwing, interested in podcasting, or it doesn't even have to be Darkwing listeners. It probably will reach anybody who's into like 90s cartoons or like Disney afternoon stuff,
Yeah, I don't think episodes are going to show up as like I don't think episodes are going to show up as recommendations if people don't subscribe and like them. You have to appeal to that algorithm. If you just watch it and you don't like or subscribe, it's not going to get out there. You got to do that.
Yeah, please do that for us so we can reach more people. Especially we're in our number count. We're in the 60s somewhere right now, so we're getting close. Yeah, we're getting close to that 91. So we will really appreciate it if you guys can click that subscribe button, and plus clicking that subscribe button will help you on our giveaways. For our YouTube listeners, I'm sorry, but I need to do a giveaway just dedicated to you guys. I really need to, because you guys actually had the most interaction with us. It's our lowest view count, but as far as the comments and stuff, you guys are all over it. So
yeah, YouTube's good that way.
Yeah, you guys are very good with it, man. I really appreciate it. So I am gonna do an exclusive giveaway. We just did one on Facebook for the Morgana Halloween limited edition pin. And we did that on Facebook. I'll probably do another one on Facebook with the Darkwing Duck Pez, but I may do like a Megavolt Funko Pop or something on YouTube for you guys. All right.
Good idea.
So Mike, man, I know you want to get something off your chest. Let's go ahead and dive into that real quick.
Well, I guess for a lot of people, this might be old news at this point, but what do you think's going on with this Darkwing Duck reboot?
I personally don't think it's confirmed. I don't think it's 100% legit. I think it's probably just something that was discussed and it leaked. This is 100% assumption here. Just, I have no clue. It just doesn't seem realistic to me from them to go from it and go in. But then it definitely is possible to go a whole different route with Disney Plus, because with Disney Plus, you're trying to get subscribers. You're not waiting on Disney XD and that type of stuff,
Oh, I believe if anything does happen, it's probably going to be over at Disney Plus. I think that's just going to be how things are going to be going forward with every show. And I've heard things over the past couple of years that really makes me think something is going on.
Mm.
But Seth Rogen,
Mhm.
like I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, wouldn't it just be best just to spin off DuckTales and just keep Angonis and Youngberg? I
I
don't.
agree with you for like writing purposes. You know, but okay, I agree with you to a certain. Really, okay, I prefer it to be Angonis and what's his name, Youngberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I prefer them, but the financial backing from Seth Rogen, and then I hate to say it, but he has a bigger name than Angonis
Oh,
in
of
them.
course he
A
does.
bigger following. He's touched so many '90s projects and stuff before. If you've seen his movies, he has a lot of '90s hip hop and stuff, music playing in his movies and stuff, or '90s like pop music. He
And apparently
also
his company's doing something with Ninja Turtles as well.
hmm and
So
remember he did a movie on the Green Hornet, which was I think late '70s. Was the Green Hornet late '70s?
yeah, Green Hornet goes back a bit.
Yeah, and I'm, I get it. I definitely get it from that standpoint. I think the fans would prefer though the story arc from Angonas and them.
Well, what I
That's just
want
my
to,
opinion.
my opinion too, what I think the fans should really keep in mind is this could very likely not have anything to do with DuckTales and what, Angonis and Youngberg are setting up. But also, it might not have much to do with the original show either. Just because it's one thing doesn't mean it's going to be the other. This could be something totally different, like completely different, different animation style. It could be CG, it could be something completely different. And until we know more, there's
Hmm.
nothing to go on.
Yeah, and who knows? Angonas and them might even be on the team. All I saw was it was Rogan's production company, and
Right.
he's the producer. So
That's it.
he might just have the financial backing, might have some say here and there.
And keep in mind the fact that DuckTales doesn't seem to have been renewed for a fourth season. That could mean something as far as Angonis and Youngberg are concerned. We don't know.
Now, now watch. Just because you said that, watch it when before this is released, it's gonna get renewed.
But that wouldn't bother me either. I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
Season 3 has actually gotten pretty good. So I'd be okay if it got renewed, but by now you think it would have been. But it's too early to say, so we're just gonna have to wait and see, guys, right?
Mhm. All right. So I mentioned the giveaways. I mentioned the YouTube, Instagram people. I haven't forgot about you guys either. I'm gonna give you guys a giveaway. Instagram is where we get the most likes, not the most comments. But I get the most likes out of Instagram. I don't know if it's
Funny
the
how everything is
hashtag.
spread out like that.
Yeah, everything's just spread out, man. Facebook, we have the most just overall following. It's the biggest following we have. Um, but anyway, let's get away from that.
Right.
Mike, what episode are we reviewing today?
All right, today we're talking about In Like Blunt. Before I go any further, In Like Blunt, the title is a takeoff of the movie In Like Flint, which is a movie about a former spy named Derek Flint. So I'm sure your brain's doing some connections right now. Who's called out of retirement for a case. That movie was made in 1967. Guarantee it's something these writers are aware of. So that's where that title and the character of Derek Blunt comes from.
Mhm.
This is a really odd episode, really interesting. Will, because its original air date was Monday, February 24th,
Mhm.
1992, but it was second by production numbers. It was number 2.
Okay.
The only one that was higher than that was Waterway to Go. Why this one is really interesting is it feels like this is definitely what Double O Duck would have been before
Yes.
it was Darkwing. This feels like straight out. Like if it
Um,
was not changed, this would have been Double O Duck.
I got some pros and cons with the cameos that that's gonna pop up on here.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm when we get there,
We're
I'll
gonna
get
spend.
into that a little bit.
Me too.
You know,
Yeah.
okay.
But what's interesting about this one, not to keep going, but unlike Duck by Any Other Name, which you could tell was earlier, but it was a much more polished episode, this one's honestly a bit of a mess. The animation is it's still Disney France, but it's kind of all over the place. This is a more recent Darkwing voice, so I feel like it was either re-recorded or that could be why this was delayed for so long. There's some weird editing, and again, this feels like a very completely different from other Darkwing episodes. What do you think?
Yeah, it definitely feels different. You can tell it's early in the production. It's not a bad episode. It's not a great episode in my opinion, but it's solid. It's decent. I can roll with it. It's above average to me. I got some gripes though with it though, but
right.
We'll talk about that more toward the ending when I score it and stuff.
Yeah,
but let's go. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it, Mike. What's our production air date order, man?
Okay, well, I already mentioned that Monday, February 24th, 92, second in production order. Story editor is Tad, which of course makes perfect sense because this is a super early one.
He's got to get his hands on it.
Sure does. This is an episode where they're trying to figure out who Darkwing is. Definitely. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he's working on it. Our writers are Kevin Campbell and Brian Swenlin. It's their first script, but it's their last one to actually air. So this is the last time we're going to see these guys. Of course, we remember who they were. They wrote Negaverse and Justice Ducks and Dry Hard. Sorry to see them go, but they were great writers. And of course, the animation I mentioned before is Disney France again. Not as polished as Duck by Any Other Name, but it's not terrible. There's some animation mistakes and some roughness to it, but there are moments where it's really good too. What do you think?
There are some moments where it was good. I guess that we normally me and you discuss our favorite scene. I'll just say somebody get blown up. I like the way that was drawn.
Uh-huh.
I have several gripes the way with Darkwing is drawn, but it's not bad overall though. We've seen worse, way worse.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, not freelance. So that all being said, this is going to be an interesting ride. So why don't we just get started? How do we start, Will?
We're at SHUSH's headquarters, and Jay Gander's watching a report about a smuggling ring was it called the Tasty Dope Factory?
It was like an ice cream factory. Tasty Treats.
Tasty Treats. Okay,
I didn't catch the name.
All right, and Jay Gander's lost two of his good men.
Yeah, they were turned into ice pops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like all the spy stuff, you see that in this episode, it's a lot more grisly. Like what's happening to these spies. Jay Gander calls in Darkwing, and he's talking about like all these SHUSH agents have been murdered. Like one was fed to a snake, another one was turned into a can of tuna. I mean, it's over the top, but it's still pretty grisly.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It really makes me wonder what this show would have been like if it had stayed Double O Duck. All this, this is the most overt spy stuff in any Darkwing Duck episode. So someone's stolen the master list of SHUSH agents and is murdering them as proof of possession. And because of the ransom note, which is asking for all the tea in China, it's got the logo of somebody named Phineas Sharp, the arch enemy of a retired spy named Derek Blunt. So Hooter decides to call Blunt out of retirement to team him up with Darkwing. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of exposition up front. Darkwing only knows Derek Blunt from the movies that were made from his biography. The real Derek Blunt was not as flashy a spy. And
he's more laid back, more mellowed out.
But I really want to know, what the hell is this guy's problem? Like, he comes in and immediately starts to dump on Darkwing.
Yeah. He didn't even acknowledge him when he first walked in. He walked right past him.
He treats Darkwing dirty throughout the entire episode. And I kind of feel, I don't know who we're supposed to sympathize with here.
Who's he voiced by?
Oh,
I didn't even think to look that up.
yeah, Derek Blunt was voiced by a man named Peter Renaday. Born in 35, he's still with us. He is 85 now. He was an actor and a voice actor. He has a lot of credits, but what's very interesting about him, he seems to be the guy. If you want someone to voice Abe Lincoln in one of your projects, he'll voice Abe Lincoln. He voiced Abe Lincoln on multiple cartoons, and he's the voice of Lincoln in the Hall of Presidents at Walt Disney World.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not. He also is on a bunch of different Disney World attractions: 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Hall of the Country Bears. So this guy has a good relationship with Disney. So he's voicing Derek Blunt. I like the voice, even though I'm not a huge fan of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we got Jay Gander, trying to convince him that, DW would be a good fit. He's a wild card, and he's not on the SHUSH master list,
So no one will know he's coming.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he says the wild card, and then Blunt says, obviously the Joker of the deck. He's so mean to him.
Yeah.
So the two of them head to Darkwing's hideout. And again, Blunt just is laying it on so mean to Darkwing. They have to find out where the ransom note came from. They have to, study it to figure out where they can find Sharp. And Darkwing he just wants to show off. He wants to show off his tech because all he knows Blunt from is these movies where Blunt used lots of different tech. So they have Sandy's substance that's stuck to this note. Darkwing does all of these experiments, and the Sandy substance is sand. That's all he was able to figure out. But then all Blunt has to do is take the sand, lick it, and then he knows exactly where Sharp is.
Mm-hmm.
So
he pinpoints it on the map.
Yeah, they get on this lift, and he asks Darkwing if he has a map. So Darkwing lowers this gigantic map down from the ceiling, and they ride this big lift, which I don't know about you. The lift they ride looks like it was done in CGI. It's really well drawn. And I know Disney France had a CG department because there was computer animated planes and Tailspin in their episodes. So I think there's some computer animation in this episode a little bit. I'm not sure though. They go to some islands, and they have a funny little bit of wordplay. He tells Darkwing it's the Salad Sea, and Darkwing goes, "There must be 1,000 islands there." Makes me want a salad. And immediately, Blunt pinpoints exactly where Sharp is. He takes a marker, circles the island he's positive he's on. Because it's the only island that does not have a type of tree that Sharp is allergic to. That's why he knows he's going to be there. And Darkwing is broken because Blunt drew on his map. And that's when Darkwing goes, "You drew on my map." Who else is in this episode? It's not just the two of them.
LP finally shows up.
Not a big role for Launchpad, but he makes his scenes count. There's some funny stuff with Launchpad later. And as soon as Blunt meets Launchpad, he gets on Darkwing's case for needing a pilot.
Yep. Oh, and a sidekick.
Like, come on, leave Darkwing alone for just a second. This is really got to be bruising his ego.
Oh, yeah.
So it's villain
time. They take
time.
the Thunder Quack. Yes, well, they take the Thunder Quack to the island, but then now it's villain time, and we got Horatio. He's informing Phineas that Derek is on, he's on the case. He's been assigned to it,
and it's exactly what Phineas Sharp wanted, because he wants to draw Blunt out of retirement so he can defeat him, because Blunt defeated him the last time.
And who is Sharp voiced by, Mike?
Jonathan Harris, born 1914. He's gone. 2002 he passed away. Jonathan Harris is most famous for playing the villain Dr. Smith in the Lost in Space series. Are you familiar with that?
I never watched it, but
I
know what it is.
Yeah, I'm familiar enough with Jonathan Harris that I know, like, the character's catchphrase was, "Oh, the pain." That's Jonathan Harris, and he voiced for Disney. He voiced a Manny, one of the bugs from Bug's Life. He has a huge career. Lots of Disney stuff. He was villains in Gargoyles, The Mighty Ducks, Quack Pack. I like the voice work for Phineas Sharp. he does make him sound really evil. I mean, he's not much of a character. The design is all right, but I love listening to the voice. How do you feel about him?
Yeah, his voice is cool, man.
We'll rate him later.
Yeah, the voice is cool. Not too crazy about him as a villain, but
No.
we'll get into that though.
Yeah. And I like he's destroying Derek Blunt dolls. He beheads one in a guillotine. He hacks one apart with a meat cleaver. He squeezes one until its head explodes.
Mike, who voiced Horatio?
I'm pretty certain it was Danny Mann because he sounds like no other voice actor in this episode. But since Danny Mann was in this one as Hooter, and he's a more versatile voice actor, that's gotta be him. It's not Renaday or Harris. So it's gotta be Danny Mann. Yes, Horatio is lackey. So we cut to the Thunderquack. Take it from here, Will.
LP crashes it as kind of like the Ducktales. So you could tell this is early in production because he's not quite the pilot that we're used to him on Darkwing,
No, he really crashes pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed a weird little editing mistake, maybe. It's odd. Blunt gets out of the plane and is like, "What's wrong with you?" And it looks like Darkwing's going to say something, and he never does. Like something was like that. It was really weird. Like they cut to Darkwing and Launchpad as if Darkwing's finishing saying something, but you don't see it. I think this one was edited really weird because even the music cues jump around a lot. I definitely think this one was really pieced together very, very sloppily. I think it's probably why it was so delayed. So
I'm going to stop you for 1 sec. Hold on, Mike. I got to stop you for just 1 second.
Go for it.
I'm just curious. As I was listening to this episode, I noticed a lot of the music on here was new and different than what I've heard. Do you think it's possible this is the one episode Giffen didn't do?
I thought the one he didn't do was Beauty and the Beat.
Oh, Beauty and the Beat? That was it?
That's what I heard.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Maybe if we ask him, he'll know.
Okay. All right, go continue though. All right, continue.
Good question though, Will. We still haven't figured that one out. So it starts this thing. Darkwing starts pulling out different gadgets, and they're not all of them backfire. He's really ticking Blunt off. The first one's a jetpack that ends up digging him into the ground. The second one is a weed whacker, which makes so much noise and almost strips off Blunt and Launchpad's clothing. I do like a scene as they're walking through the forest. Launchpad and Blunt keep hitting Darkwing with branches that they're pushing aside, but then an entire tree springs up and knocks Darkwing back. An entire tree. And then finally, Blunt gets so mad at him, he shakes him over a lake and dumps all of his gadgets in. So Darkwing has nothing left. Yeah, his telescope. So Darkwing has nothing left. No gas gun in this one, though, I think. They don't even mention it.
Yeah, not at all. And then we got some henchmen that they're lurking around in there, but they're not looking for Darkwing or Derek. They're looking for a ball.
It's a fake out. When we go to commercial, they're hiding in a bush, and you think they're going after them. But when we come back from commercial, they're just looking for a soccer ball.
Yeah, but now, Mike, we finally got the cameos we were wanting to discuss.
That's what this episode is infamous for. It's really weird cameos, very weird. Explain it, Will.
All right, we got Magica, but it looked like Magica was working there.
It looked like she was serving drinks or something, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. Magica the Spell. We got Steel Beacon, Ammonia Pine. We got Glongo. We got Glongo playing. I think it's Horseshoes. Was he playing?
Horseshoes.
All right, and then we got the Beagle Boys are kind of spread out though.
Yeah, I know we see Bouncer at a table with somebody who I'll mention in a moment, and Big Time, Baggy, and Burger are watching Steel Beacon, Ammonia Pine play cards. And I guess it's a funny visual. A Launchpad says, "Boy, Ammonia's really cleaning up because she has a vacuum cleaner and she's sucking up all the chips."
Yeah.
Quick joke from Ammonia Pine. Whatever. None of them talk though. None of these characters talk. It's just cameos. Why do you think they're using Ducktales characters in place of Darkwing characters? I mean, there is a reason for it. Why do you think?
I think it comes from the Double O Duck episode. This was slowly the transition, and then the auction.
Yeah, and of course, all those other Darkwing villains didn't even exist yet. because Steelbeak and Ammonia Pine were foul villains. So, of course, they already existed early on, but they had no other Darkwing villains. So they had to get all these DuckTales villains just to fill it out a bit.
Yeah.
And so there's one
get
villain.
I was gonna say we have one more cameo of a villain, but I don't remember him on this scene. I saw him later.
No,
he
later
does.
on.
Okay, so we'll get to him in a minute because I got a gripe with him.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Okay.
But there's one villain I want to mention. She is seen several shots, especially one sitting next to one of the goons and Bouncer Beagle. This villain, the one with the glasses, the wavy hair, and the sneakers, this is a Darkwing Duck villain that never ended up getting used. Her name is Animatronic. Say it quick. Animatronic, like the robots at Disney World. Her whole shtick was she created robots to fight Darkwing and Shush with. She was a robot expert. I had asked Tad if they ever were going to put her in an episode. They never got around to it. And I've seen the list of all the episodes, even ones that didn't get made. She isn't in any of them. So they never ended up even writing an animatronic episode. Although she is in a little golden book called the Silly Canine Caper. Do you have the golden book, Will?
No, I don't.
No, I think Stan does. And it's her big claim to fame. She ended up at least in a piece of merchandise. So that's animatronic. This is her one scene we ever get of her on Darkwing Duck. So let's continue, Will.
All right, so we get those cameos, and then Derek realizes Phineas is going to auction them off the agents he's going to auction off the SHUSH agents,
Yes.
Yeah, because it's like a memento for all the villains,
And this resort he's built is just a cover for it.
Yeah. So then we get Derek, DW, and LP. They sneak in disguises. Derek and DW, they're bellboys, and LP. I don't know what LP was. I don't know what that's called.
He's dressed like Carmen Miranda with the big fruit hat. Darkwing's disguise does not include his mask.
Yeah,
like it's one of those few times.
In a way.
Yeah, it's one of those few times he disguises himself and doesn't include the mask. So they're disguised as bellboys, and which apparently fools Sharp, and they take the bags away, and Launchpad overhears Sharp tell Horatio that he knows Blunt is there.
Yeah,
and he can't wait.
He has this trap ready for him,
Yep. And Launchpad overhears. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was saying Darkwing does something really stupid now. Just because he's annoyed at his disguise, he takes it off and puts his usual outfit back on, which was like the worst thing for him to do. He blows their cover almost.
Yeah. And then they got to hide in the laundry bag or basket.
The laundry cart, yeah.
Yeah, the laundry cart. And then they get dumped into the laundry room. And while they're down there, there's a big old door for them to get out, but it's not going to be an easy task, at least not for Darkwing, because he doesn't have his gadgets.
Oh, I could waltz right in there with my lock-picking equipment, but it seems to be missing. Someone must have thrown it in a lake or something. Like I said before, I really think the Darkwing dialogue was recorded later, because this is like modern Darkwing. This is not that rough Darkwing voice from the earlier episodes. Like, this is like Darkwing now. So I think this was recorded later, because all of Darkwing's dialogue sounds great. It doesn't sound rough. So Blunt, what does Blunt do? How do they get in?
He pulls a feather from Darkwing's head.
And what happens then?
Then it blows up, and Darkwing. Well, he tells Darkwing to duck.
And Darkwing goes, "What?" And it blows up in his face. He goes, "Next time, be more specific."
I did like the animation on how Darkwing looked. I really did.
Oh, all burnt to a crisp. So they walk into the room, and all they find on a pedestal is a piece of paper that says,
"Gotcha."
Yup. And Blunt knows exactly what that means. And
it's a trap.
It's a trap, and they can't get out. Sharp is there. And Sharp even mocks him. He's like, "I expected you 15 seconds earlier." And all the goons show up with their guns. And that's when Launchpad shows up.
Yep. Too late for the warning.
Yeah, Launchpad comes running and he goes, "It's a trap!" And then he gets a gun pressed up against his temple. I'm pretty sure that shot of the gun hitting Launchpad in the head was edited out on Toon Disney. I don't remember seeing that there.
Okay.
I mean, it's there on Disney Plus and on DVD, but I remember that always getting edited.
Okay.
So now our third act starts. What's going
Yeah.
on, Will?
Well, now they're tied up. Now they're tied up in the exercise room, and Sharp has this big old. I don't know what those things are called, where it's like a domino effect type
Yes,
thing.
it's basically called a Rube Goldberg device, where one thing
Okay.
triggers something else.
Okay. Yeah, and but basically it starts with LP.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to lose weight, and it
He's
gets
in
the
a
thing
steam
going.
cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sitting in a steam cabinet. He looks so uncomfortable.
And we're gonna come back to LP on
Yeah.
that.
We don't have to go through like everything that's supposed to happen, but Launchpad loses weight, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this and this and this happens, and the end result is that the weights that are tied to Darkwing and Blunt, they're hanging from the ceiling. They got weights tied to their feet being suspended up in the air. When the rope finally snaps, the weights are gonna fall, and Sharp's intent is to tear them in half.
Oh yeah,
Which
boy,
is
gruesome.
really grisly, yeah. Really grisly. And then he leaves because all good villains have to do that.
Yeah, and
So
then
he's
this is when Derek Blunt is kind of like he's finally given up. He's like
Mhm.
lost all hope.
Yeah, and
He's no longer cocky.
he admits he's jealous of Darkwing because Darkwing has friends, a family. I don't know how he would know Darkwing has a family.
Hmm.
Um, but all he has is just cheap movies. Like he has nothing to show for his career. And that's a good apology. It's kind of redeems Blunt a little bit. But
Hmm.
Darkwing gets an idea.
Yeah, he has like this acid coupling or something,
Yes.
and he feels what was he trying to do? Burn the rope or something?
Burn the ropes that their arms are tied to.
But that didn't happen. He ended up
No.
burning the table legs.
Okay, so Launchpad doesn't have much to do in this episode. He kind of feels kind of pointless, but this totally justifies him being in the episode. He thinks what's happening here, which is a complete accident, is all planned. Launchpad goes, "It got the table leg. All right, you got the floor going." Launchpad's so excited, even though everything's going wrong.
Yeah, but Blunt, he's realized Darkwing screwed up, but Darkwing has a plan now, though, with the use of his cape.
Yes, his cape catches fire, floats up to the ceiling, and triggers the sprinkler system.
Yep. And
And
then DW is finally freed, and Derek is finally impressed with Darkwing. He's finally showing him some love.
but of course, Blunt's wrists go free, and he drops to the ground. But it's the ropes on Darkwing's ankles that go free, and he shoots up and smashes his head in the ceiling. Darkwing never
Yep.
gets it easy, does he?
Nah, but they head out and they
They
leave
leave
somebody behind.
they leave Launchpad behind in the
Yeah.
steam cabinet.
So now we're at the auction. The auction has begun, and we get a cameo, Mike.
We get one more character. This is the oddest one of all. Who is it, Will?
Hammerhead.
Yeah, it's Hammerhead, which means when they were writing this, they must have had Darkly Dawns the Duck in some stage of production, but not far enough that they knew how big Hammerhead was going to be and who was going to voice him.
I hated the voice on this one, man.
He doesn't talk yet.
Yeah.
Well, but he will.
Do you want to just go ahead and say who voiced him? Get
It
that out of the
wasn't
way.
it wasn't Hal Rail. They didn't get Hal Rail. Do you know who voiced him?
No, I don't.
It was Tad.
Oh, it was Tad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
It was Tad. Yeah, his one vocal contribution to the Darkwing Duck series was voicing Hammerhead in this one episode.
Oh my goodness.
So, but it really
set me up, man. You set me up.
I thought you knew.
I did not know.
But yeah. So now Darkwing and Blunt are working together. They sneak behind Sharp as he's doing the auction, and they steal the list. and Sharp comes after them.
Yeah, they stole the SHUSH master list, right?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Okay.
And he confronts them. They hide in a closet, and he turns that closet door to Swiss cheese.
Oh yeah, he had like some type of laser gun or something, right? And he'll
Yeah,
just shoot
yeah,
all in the closet.
definitely. And he thinks he says, "Gotcha." Make a movie out of that. And he leaves, and it turns out, Darkwing had 2 acid cufflinks, and he saved them by burning a hole through the floor. And then Sharp gets back to the auction, and who's the winner of the auction?
Hammerhead.
Until he takes a look at the list, and that's when Hammerhead speaks. It's a grocery list. And he's like, "This doesn't sound like a list of SHUSH agents. Sounds like a fake." And we know Hammerhead doesn't sound like that.
Not at all.
At the time they recorded it, they probably had no idea who was going to voice him. You know? Episode number 2. How would they have known?
Yeah.
So yeah, Hammerhead grabs Sharp right by the throat. We don't see what happens to Sharp, but we know it ain't good. Tell us
well, I was going to just say real quick, Mike, I thought it was kind of weird that Hammerhead won the auction with Glomgold being there. I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah, Glomgold, the second richest duck in the world. Don't you think he would have... Yeah, I know. Unless he's just that cheap.
Yeah.
But can I ask a question? What would Magica Dispel and Glomgold even want with a list of SHUSH agents?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, what were they going to do with it? Even the Beagle Boys. I get it. I get why they had to be in the episode, but doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, so what happened with Hammerhead and Sharp?
We don't see it. Hammerhead just grabbed Sharp by the neck, and we fade out. We know he gets it bad. We just don't see it.
Yeah.
So tell us how this one ends. I think the ending's pretty funny.
All right, so we got DW and not DW
Blunt.
and Darkwing. Yeah, DW and Blunt. They're walking by the pool outside. They're laughing it up, but Blunt made a comment about sweat, and that's when Darkwing realizes he left LP behind.
Yep. What happened to Launchpad?
Oh my goodness, he shrunk.
He's all tiny.
He's lost so much weight, man. Lost so much height being in that what's it called again?
The steam cabinet.
The steam cabinet. Yeah, he lost so much weight. He shrunk. He's so tiny.
And he's got a high-pitched voice too.
Yeah, he said he's going on vacation.
But he wonders if the hotel has reduced rates. The little high-pitched Launchpad voice is the same one they gave him. Have you seen the episode of Ducktales, Launchpad's First Crash?
Yeah.
The episode where Launchpad and Scrooge were supposed to meet. The same voice. He has that exact same high voice as that episode. The first time I saw this one, I was like, whoa, okay, I recognize that voice. It's just Terry McGovern's voice pitched up a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's in like Blunt. Again, interesting for a whole bunch of reasons. So Will, if you had to rate this one and critique it, what would you say?
I would give it a 3. A little bit above average, but it's not tier 1 or tier 2 or anything.
No.
You get that double O duck type feel to it. There's some errors in there. I did not like Hammerhead voice. Sorry, Tad. I love you, Tad. Thank you for creating Darkwing, but I didn't like Hammerhead's voice now that I know how Rel voiced him later on. The Glomgold thing kind of confused me when I watched this episode. Even like as a kid, I thought it was really weird that Glomgold didn't win the auction.
Yeah.
Blunt is okay. I'm fine with him being so mean to Darkwing at first. I'm fine with that, but Sharp is just not a good villain to me.
Yeah.
Not at all. So that kind of takes it back down again. There was some animation issues I had with it. I felt like Darkwing wasn't drawn that great, but I did not realize it was the second in production, so he was still kind of in the works,
Yeah, I get that feeling from this too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like this was a salvage job. Like, it wasn't turning out right, or something wasn't working with it, and they really had to salvage it. Again, with the music seems like it's really choppy. The animation isn't perfect. And again, like I said, Darkwing's voice seems to be recorded later. Like, I feel like this one had a troubled production history, which definitely seems to hurt it a little bit. But my rating is the same as yours. I'm giving it a 3 because I'm being fair to it, just like I was fair to A Duck by Any Other Name, because I know how early it was. And this is more fascinating than that one because this is definitely Double O Duck. Like this is how Double O Duck would have been. I feel like if it had not been changed, we would have gotten lots of episodes with traveling, more about the supervillain spies, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it's fascinating to see what the show might have been like. So I'm giving it a 3 for just being really unique.
Okay.
Mainly.
All right, let's get into the villain. What you gonna rate Sharp?
I think I'm just gonna give Sharp a 2, which isn't my lowest villain score. I really enjoy Jonathan Harris's voice. I think it's fun to listen to him, but I think design-wise, just overall as a villain, there isn't much to him. He's just a very stock kind of spy villain. Yeah. He's just, he's not memorable. I just like the voice, mainly. Okay. That's about it. So I'm just going to give him a 2. How about you?
I'm going to give him a 1.5. I just didn't get what was to him. You got Magica in this episode. Magica has, witchcraft. You got Glongo, who has money, so he has the finance to back him up. The Beagle Boy,
actual foul villains too.
Yeah, actual foul villains, Ammonia and Steel Beat. So I kind of didn't get why he was running this.
What makes him so special?
Yeah, and there was nothing to him. The only thing was he had a good plan. So maybe that's what it was to him. He's a good thinker. He did have a solid plan to draw Derek over there. And then for him to catch all those SHUSH agents. But overall, I wouldn't care to see him again. So I'm giving him a 1.5.
Yeah, watching the episode, they mentioned that Sharp was only beaten once. And watching this guy, I'm like, this guy does not seem very tough. Like if this guy gives Blunt a hard time, he can't be much of an agent.
All right. Yeah, man. So yeah, that's Blunt. In like Blunt.
It's interesting. Again, I keep using that word. It's just really interesting. It's a must watch because of how fascinating it is,
Yeah. I don't hate the episode, though.
No, me neither. I enjoy watching it. I do enjoy watching it. It's just not one of the best.
Yeah. All right, so Mike, what episode we got next, man?
Well, speaking of an episode I don't enjoy watching, here we go. I've been tormenting you about this one, but it's finally time. Next week we're getting another Quackerjack episode, which would be a good thing if it wasn't Quack of Ages.
It's getting a 5. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. It's all I'm really gonna say right now is one of my absolute least favorite syndicated episodes. Like I think there's like 2 at the bottom of my pile for Disney afternoon episodes. This is one of them. I'll leave you with that. Okay. I will leave you with that. I don't like it. I love you, Quackerjack, but I just don't like this episode. Okay. So, but you know what? We'll have fun with it. We'll have fun with it, So join us next week. We'll have fun with it, we promise. Quack of Ages. Join us next time for that one.
All right. Real quick, Mike. The fastest you can say, where can they find us at?
Oh, Lord. Every podcast app, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Radio Public, and Pocket Cast. iHeartRadio, Pandora, your Amazon too, also your Alexa and YouTube. I think that's every single one of them. I think it's the fastest I've ever done it. Do you have shout outs?
No shout outs today. Just congratulations to Dominic on winning that Morgana pin. Well, you know what? Here we go. I'm gonna give a shout out to everybody who's joined our Facebook group. Not the podcast page, but the Facebook group. So shout out to all of you guys. Y'all are helping us build a community, with Darkwing. So really appreciate it.
Even though all of you guys keep answering the Quackerjack question wrong, and I know you're all doing it, because it's funny. I did the same thing when I finally joined. So yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right, so everybody, y'all have a good night, and remember, stay dangerous.
Don't draw on my map. Good night.